Hello everybody and welcome back to LRN, the channel that is all about F1 fan opinion. So do please get involved in the comments below and let me know all of your thoughts on the latest F1 news and all of the discussion on the channel. If you are new around here, please make sure to subscribe on the bottom right hand side and hit a like on the video if you do enjoy it. It is really appreciated and does really help the channel out. Today we are going to be mainly talking about Fernando Alonso and whether his move to Aston Martin is an absolute masterstroke after updates around the upgrades to facilities at Aston Martin. What will that mean for them and what will it mean for the twilight of Fernando Alonso's career? But first of all, we're going to kick off with Ferrari and a quick update on what's going on with them. So of course we did have, it's moving quite quickly. We did a whole video around the fact that Mattia Binotto was going to be leaving his post a couple of days before it was officially announced. I think it was quite clear across media that it was definitely going to happen. It was only a question of when. So that did get finally announced that Mattia Binotto was resigning from his position with Ferrari. So that has now happened. They were then very quickly linked with Brawn, who has very quickly after that very short-lived thought process that Brawn might come back to Ferrari to relive the glory days. I already suggested in the video I did about it that I didn't think it was true, that he wouldn't be interested. I didn't feel that would genuinely happen, even though it would be a fantastic acquisition for Ferrari to get him back. I think it would have been amazing for them and a massive upgrade on Mattia Binotto. But very quickly, it became clear that wasn't going to be the case. Brawn's come out and announced his full retirement from being in the world of F1. He will continue his life watching Formula 1 on the sofa. He's officially retiring from the sport in all aspects. So I wish him well in his retirement. Of course, it's unfortunate. I think everyone would have liked to have seen what would have happened had he come back to Ferrari, but I don't think anyone really believed that he was going to do that. So there we are then. He has retired from the sport, and that does leave us again wondering who it is that's going to take over. Now, I firmly remain in the camp that Vasser is the favourite. He will probably move from from Alfa Romeo over to the Ferrari team. That's what I expect to happen, and we'll see if that does. We've even seen Guenther Steiner linked. For me, I think maybe in years gone by, that's something Ferrari would have done. But in this modern era that is all about PR and appearances for a brand like Ferrari, would they want Guenther Steiner and his flavour of leadership associated with the Ferrari brand? It could go either way. I think Guenther Steiner's fantastic. I would love to see him there, and I certainly don't think it would make me think any differently about Ferrari and who they are. But we know how the world works these days. People are very careful about who they have associated with their brands, and I just question, with Guenther Steiner being the personality that he is, would it fit with the people behind the scenes at Ferrari? Is that something they'd want to see? I'm not sure that they would, but if they do choose to go down that route, I'm definitely interested to see what he does with the, because think about it, he's been at Haas, he's had no budget, he's been constricted in terms of who they can bring to the team. They don't have a brand of, that people want to work for. It's very much a sort of a grassroots. They're bringing people in that either they're having to pay more money or lure in. But generally speaking, they can't lure the top engineers, the top aerodynamicists, the top drivers to Haas. So if he went to a Ferrari and suddenly had, the choice of everybody, right? Everyone wants to work at Ferrari, the drivers, the mechanics, everybody. You want to work for the Ferrari brand. If Guenther Steiner had control of that, how would he get on with it? Who would he get rid of? Who would he bring in? I'd love to see how he would manage that situation at Ferrari and who his picks would be. Would he bring anyone from Haas with him? Maybe. But I'd love to see it. And hit a like on the video if you would too. And let me know what you think would happen in the comments below if Steiner was given the reins at Ferrari. But for me, it's a dream I don't think we're going to see. I think it will be Vasser unless they can come up with something else that we haven't thought of. And we'll keep an eye on it. And of course, we'll react to it on here when any official news does break around the position at Ferrari and who will replace Mattia Binotto. But let's get into it then with Fernando Alonso. The main story is, will he win his third world championship with Aston Martin? So first of all, we're going to go through the reasons for it, and we're going to start off with Dan Fallows, the man who was the chief aerodynamicist at Red Bull, who then went on to join Aston Martin recently and become their technical director. So he's a guy who's massively in the world of aerodynamics, and of course we know that aerodynamics is the most important element these days of a Formula 1 car. It's what makes the cars so different to each other. It's fundamentally in the aerodynamics of the car. And he's now taken up the technical director position at Aston Martin. And of course, they are implementing a massive £200 million upgrade to their facilities, including a brand new wind tunnel. So he's been conducting an interview recently. And he's had a few quotes come out from that interview where basically he's saying that the facilities will be complete by the end of 2024. So he's gone on to say, we're hoping that we'll have at least some contribution to the AMR 25, depending on how the commissioning and things at the tunnel goes. That will probably be the first car that will be able to have a significant impact with a new tunnel. So what that basically means is that the car that Aston Martin produce in 2025 will likely be the first car we see with the benefit of the new wind tunnel that Aston Martin have produced. That means that Fernando Alonso would be 43 going on 44 for the 25 season. So maybe time catches up with him. And I think that might be the main reason it doesn't work out. Because on paper with Aston Martin, the money that they have, of course, with Lawrence Stroll backing it, billionaire backing, they've got the money. They easily get the sponsorships. People love the Aston Martin brand across the world. It is a well-renowned brand. Obviously, not up with the echelons of Ferrari perhaps, but right below it in terms of its prestige in the sport. So it will draw in sponsors of huge swathes of money, but we know the cost cap prevents people spending way too much on the development of the car. So then it comes down to the quality of your facilities. That's what's going to differ you. And I think McLaren as well are trying to implement their wind tunnel for the same period of time to drive them for a challenge at the championship in 2025. So this could be a really interesting season in 2025. We know Mercedes are going to be there or thereabouts. We know Red Bull are going to be there or thereabouts. We know Ferrari will be there or thereabouts. But I think we could see McLaren and Aston Martin join the party because of the massive upgrades they are putting on to their infrastructure to develop a car ready for the 2025 season. Now, Aston Martin, they're going to be, they say there's going to be a huge impact to the car for 2025, but that also means it won't be fully developed for the 25 season, whereas other people, of course, will be fully developing their car with the wind tunnels they have in place. It is going to be interesting. We do know the cars that, of course, are doing better are going to have less time in the wind tunnel. So in Aston Martin's favour, not only are they going to have this brand new wind tunnel to use, if they are, say, continuing in the next couple of years to be lower down the order, they're going to get much more time in the wind tunnel into that 25 season than the teams we've just mentioned ahead of them. So that could really work in their favour in terms of coming into 2025 with a massive chance of really competing with those big boys in the sport. And I do think Aston Martin, massive opportunity. If they get this right, they could truly challenge for at least a Drivers' World Championship and potentially a Constructors if they had the right driver lineup. Do I think we've seen in the sport in the last few years how important it is to have two drivers who can really, a second driver who can really back up the main man. And of course, the main man would be Fernando Alonso. Is Lance Stroll good enough to back them up and to win a Constructors' Championship? I'm going to say no. I'm pretty consistent with that thought process. I did think he showed signs of improvement this year, but they quickly died off. And he's going to have to go again next year. We know he's not going anywhere, so he has another chance to up his game and become a better driver. Maybe with those big wing mirrors on the car, Lance Stroll will finally learn how to see cars around him and not come out directly in front of them and how to make moves. We'll see. We'll see if he can do that. But I think Fernando Alonso, if he can just push away Father Time and not succumb to time and his age, which he will do eventually. We're talking about a potentially 44-year-old Fernando Alonso to benefit from this car in the latter stages of the 25 season. So it is going to be a massive test of his longevity in the sport. But if he can do that, if he can maintain the standards that he's still showing now, he does have a genuine chance at winning a third world title. And he did say it's a multi-year deal, and I think this is what he saw. These are the conversations he was having behind the scenes with Mike Crack and people around Aston Martin as to why he should go there. He's looking at this season, I think, in 2025 and thinking, if I can maintain my quality in the car, if I can keep driving at the ability I am now, and they give me the car they're promising me, I have a chance to go out as world champion. And I'm not saying it will happen. As I said, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari will all be there to stop him. McLaren are hoping to be there to stop him. So everyone will be trying to get in his way. But he does have a genuine chance. And I think certainly more so than Alpine are potentially promising or able to do in the next few years. So for me, he's made the right decision to leave. If he is going to challenge, you look at the options and the seats that were available. This looks like potentially a fantastic opportunity for Fernando to truly go out on a massive high. And that's something I would definitely like to see. Let me know in the comments if you think that's going to happen. Do you think Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso will challenge for a title in 2025 with their new facilities, with their new wind tunnel? Can they do it? And as I say, with potentially more wind tunnel time to develop because of the way these regulations work, that teams that finish further down the order can spend more time in the wind tunnel. So in 2023, if they don't finish high up the order, that time in 2024 is going to be massive for them, that they get in the wind tunnel developing that 2025 car. So I think it could just work out perfectly for them. And again, I'm not saying it will. I think McLaren are really going to be up there too, along with the main three. But imagine the story. I mean, if Fernando could win that third world title and retire as world champion, that's something I would definitely like to see. Hit a like on the video if you would like to see it too, and let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen. What other teams are going to come to the front? What team do you think is going to compete with those top three? Do you think one of them is going to fall off? Do you think Mercedes might fall off for a while? Do you think Red Bull was set for a period of dominance? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, again, if you are new around here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon to be notified of all future uploads. Hit a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Otherwise, I'm just going to thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.